Hey, this is Rosa RCG Creations. How are you doing? I'm bringing to you today a video on burritos in a jar. And here's all my ingredients. I've already started with some of the jars just to save time on the video. And what you do is you get any kind of bean, black beans, white beans, pinto, whatever you want to use. Make sure they're washed. Make sure they're rinsed. Don't soak them or anything. They have to be dry beans, but until you know where you got them from, make sure you always look up, get all the dead ones, get all the dead rocks out, and then rinse them off so you know those are good. I already did this jar because I actually had opened up these number 10 jars, and I went ahead and went through all of them, got rid of all, because I had already opened them anyway, so I went ahead and got all the rocks, all the dead ones, all the yucky ones out, and I left them all in there because I have my little lid. Oh, excuse my noise here. I've got my, I'm pressure canning some turkey broth from Thanksgiving. Let me turn my timer on for that. Okay, so 25 minutes, the turkey broth will be ready. Okay. So back where I got, so we've got 1/2 cup of any bean of your choice. Then we're going to add that's a 1/2 cup. Now we're going to add 1/4 cup of rice. You can use brown rice. We don't have any brown rice, so we're just using plain old white rice. And I store all mine in an old Pepsi bottle that I washed and drained and cleaned out. And here are my directions on how to cook it all. And it's perfect size for my pantry. I have a narrow kind of a galley kitchen, so the pantry's tiny. So you make do with what you have. And instead of having my big old canisters like I used to have, it was easier to have this because it's a lot more narrow, and I can see exactly how much I have when I have to refill it. Now, if you want to, because it's rice, you don't have to fill a solid full cup. You can do a little bit a little bit less if you want to. But make sure you do all this in the exact same order. And I am going to be putting in the description box all the ingredients and the sequence order that it all has to do. And that it has to be done in this sequence order. Okay? The next thing we're going to be adding is 1/3 cup of onions. And I love my green chopped onions. I like those better than my regular my yellow onions, which I froze. And I keep in freezer bags to make it easy on prep time. So now I'm going to do 1/3 cup of onions, so 1/3. And I love these green onions. I really enjoy them more than any other onion. I like it. I think it's because it's not overly powering like the yellow onion, but it's not sweet like the sweet onions. We're going to do 1/3 cup of that. And some of my onions are still kind of frozen. But I'm only going to get what I want and then put this back in the freezer. And I'm just using an old pasta jar. So nothing major. Again, you use what you got. I got tons of jars and stuff, but I'd rather save my mason jars for pressure canning, not for freezing stuff or putting things in the food pantry for dry goods. Some things I do use those jars, and I use those resealable lids, like these ball ones. This is one, but it's got holes in it, so this is made really for spices. But then they have one that's solid black, and then they have white ones. But Ball makes these, and that's just what I had at the time, so that's what I used. So that's what I'm using. Okay, so after the onions comes in 1/3 cup of bell peppers. And here's my bell pepper. And I'm going to use my little stir stick, because I don't like to put anything metal inside my jars. I don't mind doing it once in a while with a spoon, but you definitely don't want to put a knife in there, because the point of the knife could scratch your jar. And if you're pressure canning or water bath canning, excuse me, that can cause your jar to crack or possibly totally break. And that would just ruin your whole project on that one jar. This is almost empty. I'm going to go ahead and use all of these bell peppers so my jar looks pretty. This is going to taste good with these bell peppers too. This is just a mix of red and yellow and orange. I'm going to go ahead and pour the juice in there because that's not going to hurt it any. I'm going to get all my little last bit of peppers. Okay, so that makes 1/3. See, pretty much full. Close enough. None of this has to be exact. Well, you want to get as close as possible for the recipe all to work. But you don't have to be exact. Excuse me, sorry about that. Okay, so now I've got my bell peppers. Now I need to put in 1 cup of ground beef. And we had cooked, my husband had actually cooked the ground beef earlier today. It was at work. And it sat in the fridge until I got home. Okay, here's 1 pack. But I noticed on the other jars, it really isn't a lot of meat, so I'm going to do like half. So I'm going to do 1 1/2. Is what I'm going to do, because I like a little bit extra meat in here. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to be exact to the recipe. You want to get as close as possible, but if you're off a little bit, it's not that big of a loss. So I'm gonna go just a little bit more than half. Okay, there isn't much more left. I may just divide the rest of this meat so it doesn't go to waste into these other jars. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to be able to make 5 jars with this recipe. These are the quart jars. Okay, so 4 tablespoons of Rotel. We don't care for Rotel, so we're not doing Rotel. But I asked for 4 tablespoons of Rotel. We're skipping that part. Then now I was asking for 1 tablespoon of taco seasoning, and I make my own taco seasoning. So 1 tablespoon of that. It's a little on the salty side, not overly salty, so I'm only going to put a pinch of salt. If you want to know what my recipe is, put a comment or reply to my email. I add my email to the description. And just send me an email and I'll be happy to email you my recipe for my own homemade taco seasoning. Okay, so that's it. Now we're just going to add broth up to the neck, which is going to give us 1 inch headspace. Just enough broth. Boy, talk about being lucky. That was good timing. Okay, so that's it. That's everything. Now let me get my towel and vinegar and wipe my jars and rings, seal them, and then put them in the canner. But I'll be back in just a second. Y'all hear that jiggling in the pressure canner? Yay, it's working. Working good. I'm going to put about 1/4 cup of vinegar. This is white vinegar in my jars, and then the extra vinegar that I have left, I will be pouring back into the canner, so that way if there's any leakage or seepage, it doesn't stain. And well, it doesn't stain. It leaves a kind of a mist, like a coating from the seepage. Then you have to wash it, and you have to wash the jars anyway, but that extra coating sometimes is kind of hard to wipe off. So I'm just going to wipe it off to make sure there's no extra grease or anything. Wiping on there. Oh, can't believe I don't have my jar. My lid's ready. I'm sorry. Let me get my lids. I'll bring you back. Okay. thought I had my lids right here, but they were not. Okay, so I wiped that down. And the new lids, you don't, Boss says you don't have to sterilize them. So I don't. And so far, everything's worked out great. But I do like, this particular jar didn't have anything running, so I do like to have the label ball face the words. So you want to close it. And you want to do finger tight. Finger tight's the middle finger and your thumb. Finger tight is all you need to do on that. Okay. So here's another jar. Now this is hubby's jar. He likes, he doesn't like any vegetables whatsoever. And we added this Cajun spice to his. I can't handle spice. He loves it. So I added about 1/4 teaspoon of his Cajun seasoning spice to his mix. So his is exactly the same as mine, except for there's no veggies in it, no onions. And I added Cajun spice onto his. So now let me just wipe my rims. And this is also a perfect time where you want to check with your finger to see if there's any cracks or imperfections that possibly could not let your jar seal. Alright, let's see if this jar has any writing on it. Nope, just a picture. Just a symbol. I think this is one of my harvest jars. Okay, finger tight. And because I have extra meat, I'm going to go ahead and pour some extra meat in here. And the rest of the remaining jars. I know I'm out of sequence, but this little part shouldn't make that much of a difference. Right, my rims. I seal. This is a curve jar. Fingertip tight. This jar, I used the last of my, I only had like half a quart of the boxed chicken broth, so I used chicken broth on this one because I wanted to hurry up and finish it up and use it. But it's kind of overfilled, so I'm going to take some juice out of here, just so I can add some more of this ground beef in here. Just remember, you have to give yourself a 1-inch headspace. And then what I did, so I know what's what, is the ones with the onions and the bell peppers. I put little pieces of green onion in it, that way I'll know after it's processed. Those are for me. I love onions and bell peppers. I like them both. And then if we have room, we'll put this, some more of this broth back in here. I just want to give myself room to finish off. I mean, it's only this much meat that's left. There wasn't very much. There's no sense in wasting it. Okay, that brought me to actually a little bit above my 1-inch headspace, so I'll go back to removing some broth out. The one thing I have learned doing all this pressure canning is you really need to follow the directions pretty much to the T. And the headspace is one of the crucial areas that you need to follow and stick with. Okay, so now I'm going to get my towel. Soak it again in vinegar a little bit here. Wipe off any grease and residue. Check no imperfections. Let's see, is there any writing on this one, or is it just a design? Okay, no, this is just the design. Oh, I didn't get any. I just pick them out, whatever's the closest one in my boxes in my spare room. So I have, they're all mixed up, all the jars. I don't pay attention to what's what. A jar is a jar. I just put it in my regular quarts are all together. The quart whites are all together. The pint quarts, the pint wide mouths are together. The pint regulars are in one. They're all in their own little section. That way I know exactly when I need something. I know exactly where to go. And here's my first one. This has got half of its chicken stock, and the other half, or excuse me, chicken broth, and the other half is bean broth. But you can tell I have my veggies in here because I did put my bell peppers and my onions in it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off the rest of this ground meat. Put that in here. Oh, I forgot to bubble. Aw, man. You always have to debubble. And here's my little debubbler, and I totally forgot to use it, so I got to go back. Screw those. Thank goodness I got telling about it now. And now, after I put them in the canner. Okay, so let me debubble. And you just, what you're doing when you're debubbling is you're going all the way to the bottom because you want to get rid of any air pockets that could be in there that could cause problems for you. And then, of course, poke it in the middle too, all the way to the very bottom. And then sometimes when you're debubbling, it causes you, because everything's moving, you may need to add some more broth if you're not right at the one at your space measurement, head space. And that's just a tad off, so I'm just going to pour a little bit in here. Okay, and the 1 inch head space is the bottom of this ring right here. I'm going to go back, get my towel, wipe off any excess grease or oil with food particles. Let's see, okay. So that one's debubbled. I know that one's debubbled. Let me get myself some room over here. No, that's debubbled. Now we gotta do these jars, the rest of these 4 jars. Sorry. But hey, you know what? We're all human. Things happen. Things mistake. If you're able to catch it before too long, that's good. Okay, that's good. And that one didn't cause me to lose any headspace, so we're good to go with that. Then my rim. You always want to clean the top of the rim and the sides of the rim so the ring can get a good seal. Well, the ring doesn't get a seal, but the lid does. But you don't want any particles of food or grease that'll compromise the ring. That one's done. Okay, debubble, 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 debubble. To the inside. Okay, that's good. And that one did not compromise the headspace either. But you definitely want to wipe your rings. Beginning here. I'm going to be able to see the word ball with the front of the jar. To me, I consider the wording as the front of the jar. That's just me. Got one more jar here. So I'm not going to show you the rest of this because it's the same thing we just did. But I will bring you back at the finished project. And then I will also at the very end show you, because we're going to have these for dinner tomorrow night, how it turned out as a meal and let you know how it tasted. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, here is the burritos in a jar. This one right here has my white beans. This one right here has my hubby's black beans with no veggies. Mine has bell pepper and onion in it, so I'm going to heat it up. Now, I will show you this. I did drain it because I don't want any soggy. I can't handle, this is Rosa, I can't handle soggy bread, tortillas, whatever. So I drained it so all the juice is not in the burrito. So I'll bring you back for the taste test. Okay, here we go. We're going to do the taste test. We heated it up in the microwave. We've got a little tortilla. I'm going to taste hubby's for just a little bit of his. I'm not going to do very much because he put spicy stuff in his. Okay, so let's see what it tastes like. You can taste the seasoning, the taco seasoning, the seasons, all the other seasonings. The beans are cooked great. The rice is a little on the mushy side. So next time, yeah, the rice is a little too much on the mushy side for my taste, but you know, I kind of knew that was going to happen. So I definitely would not do this for a very long term storage. I would do something like for something that's going to be eaten in about a week. So I'm going to taste hubby's now. Oh, hot, 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 hot. Temperature hot. Okay. Everything cooked great. The beans are cooked good. Let me get another bean. Yep. Turned out good. I give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and we catch you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.